Hello and welcome to Radio Waves. I'm your host, Kris Poliquin, and we're broadcasting out of WLBE My 790 AM out of Leesburg, Florida. The show is a production of Red Apples Media. Today I've invited two representatives from Leesburg Lightning, Coach Rich Billings and the General Manager Tyler Brandeburg. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, so let's get this started. Tell me a little bit about Leesburg Lightning.
Well, we are a collegiate woodbat summer league team that we started about 10 years ago, back in 2007, and we have players that come from all over the country, and they live with host families here in the area, and we play about a 45 to 50 game schedule throughout the summer that starts in the beginning of June and hopefully ends the first weekend in August with a trip to the championship game. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of baseball. It's kind of what summer is all about here in Leesburg.
Absolutely. So you brought up championships. Have you been the one? 10 years is, really isn't that long of I guess, of a history, for a baseball team. Have you been to many championships? Or am I asking a question I shouldn't?
No, that's a good question. I'm not sure how many we've been to.
We've been to 7, I believe, in 10 years, and
so we've
gotten it done twice.
Yeah, we've won twice.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 2007 was our first. That was the very first year we were in the league. We won the championship that year, and then 2009 was the second one. So it's been a while.
Strong.
Yeah.
And do you guys have any rivalries? Specific teams that everybody's we got to go to the game tonight because they're playing.
Yeah, it's definitely Sanford. Without doubt, it's definitely Sanford. It's always fun to beat those guys.
So how many teams are actually in this league?
We've got 6 teams in the league. There is a team in Altamont, DeLand, Leesburg, Sanford, Winter Garden, and Winter Park.
Wow.
Throughout the 10 years we've been in the league, there's been a couple that have come and gone, but those have been the mainstays throughout.
Okay.
So Sanford's definitely our biggest competition, and we've had some great games with all of the 5 teams in the league, and it's a lot of fun all summer long, and good competition, good baseball, and good fun.
The Leesburg Lightning is actually an FCSL league, right? And that is a summer collegiate league.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is that? What's the difference between that and just your normal collegiate league?
Well, I mean, the fact that it's in Florida, there's a couple. There's one in South Florida. I believe there is one up closer to the Panhandle. But the Florida Collegiate Summer League that's the league to be in the state of Florida. And there's a lot of players that want to come from some of the northern states, and they want to spend a summer in Florida. They want to be close to the beach for the summer. They want to be close to Disney World. They want to experience another part of the country that they may not otherwise get a chance to experience. So I think the fact that it is where it is makes it pretty special. There are some others that are probably a little more competitive than the Florida Collegiate League. The Cape Cod League, of course, it's the best of the best. There's the Valley, there's the New England League. So there are summer leagues all over the country, but I think just the fact that we're in Florida makes us pretty special.
Oh, heck yeah. But now you're talking about students coming because this league is after they finish their college season, correct?
Right.
Okay. And we're talking about players coming from the northern states. That seems to be pretty expensive. I mean, is there a program or something that allows these students to come down, or are they like renting hotel rooms? Because the season is how long?
It's about 2 months, so maybe a little bit longer. Actually, June and July, and then it ends in the beginning of August. So a little over 2 months.
So where do we put these guys up?
Most of them stay with host families in the area, or some of them are local enough within a 30, 45-minute radius to where they still stay at home and then just drive each day up. A lot of them stay with other players, so we'll get carpooling, and we'll get just a lot of generous people in the community that rent out space, or not rent out, but give up space in their house and have a spare bedroom and let the kids be there all summer long. They feed them, they do their laundry, they pretty much are their family for the summer, and they really enjoy doing it. And it's a very beneficial situation for both, not just the players, but the families also get to a point where they just really enjoy doing it and want to do it each and every year.
Sure, so we kind of like an exchange student.
Exactly. So it's like a short-term exchange student program where we really find that the host families get just as much out of it and really enjoy doing it, and we couldn't do it without them. So that is integral to us being able to do what we do as the host families in the area.
So we're bringing players down. They're staying with host families in some cases. Is there a screening involved? I guess my concern is that if I wanted to do this, am I going to get a partier from New York State coming down to my house and then, just raising Cain for 2 months after I've committed to housing them? Is there any checks and balances there?
Well, most of the players, all the players that we get, I bring in as the head coach. I'm the one that gets the players, and I'm getting them from. Most of them come from coaches that I know and trust and have built relationships with over the years. So it's kind of nice knowing that you're getting a player from somebody that you have known. They're not going to send you a bad one. Doesn't mean we don't get them every once in a while. We do have issues. Every once in a while we'll have an issue, but really it's in the 10 years we have had very, very minimal, very few problems. So. The players know when they come in. We sit down with them the very first day, and when they come in, they know that these people are opening their houses to you as a player, and it's your job to be respectful of that, to follow their rules, and if you can't do that, then you can't play here. So we drop the hammer on them pretty quick.
And that's kind of what I don't want to say was a concern, but that's why I was wondering. This is a great opportunity for these. It's a great opportunity for these players to be able to come down to Central Florida. You don't want them to ruin it, and it's an opportunity to get to keep the league going with new and fresh players. Now, what kind of turnaround do you have on players? Do you keep the same players for 4 years of college, or is there intentionally mixing it up?
Probably a little bit of both. I think it's funny because I think a lot of it depends on what kind of year we have. And, if we're not real successful one year, I may try to go out and get some new players the next year.
Right.
But
as coaches do.
Yeah. And I will say this, though. Most of the players that come down and spend a summer in Leesburg, they want to come back. I know last year we had a bunch of guys back from the summer before. In 2015, we went to the championship game. We didn't win. We lost to Sanford 1-0, but we had a great year, and the players loved the experience. They loved playing in front of 1,000 fans every night, and so for the most part, they want to come back, and we don't really ever have a problem finding players because this is the place to be in the Florida Collegiate League.
1,000 fans. Mm-hmm. Where do you guys play?
We play at Pat Thomas Stadium in downtown Leesburg, Venetian Gardens, right across from Leesburg Regional Medical Center. So we've got a great historic ballpark that a lot of members of the community have kept up over the years and take great pride in. And we probably have one of the best venues in Central Florida, without a doubt, to play baseball. It's got a ton of history. Hank Aaron hit a ball into Lake Harris back in the day.
Is that right?
A lot of major leaguers have come through. We used to have a minor league team in Leesburg affiliated with the Oakland Athletics and a couple of organizations. So we've had a lot of great history there. The stadium has a ton of character, and it adds to the feel of what all we offer in Leesburg. Unlike any other team in the league, we don't charge admission. We're the only team that all games are free.
Is that right?
We don't serve alcohol. So really our intention is to just have a family-friendly environment for the entire summer where you can feel comfortable bringing your family out every night of the week. Just good, clean fun without having to worry about breaking the bank or having to worry about traveling far to go entertain your family one night. So really our intention is on the community, and I think our fans and our players understand that, and that's why we've been so successful.
That's great. That really does seem to open up to make it a family environment, right? In my opinion, nowadays, kids don't go outside and play much anymore.
Yeah.
Just in general, right? And that's part of the reason why I've always loved baseball is it's one of those activities, one of the sporting events that can bring a community together. Mm-hmm. Everybody goes to the ballpark. Doesn't have to be major league, but you go to the ballpark, you have a couple of hot dogs, you have your kids running around. They may be getting inspired to play ball themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that you're doing a great service. If for no other reason, just opening it up to having free admission.
And that's always been our pure intention. We've never been one to try to profit off this in any way. Any sort of excess revenue we have at the end of the year goes back into the team, back into the stadium, just making the season next year the best we can and just making the experience for our community that much greater. So it's really community-centered in every way, shape, or form. And at the end of the day, as long as we're putting out quality on the field that the community's proud of, then we're doing our job.
Yep.
So, Coach, if someone wanted more information about the Leesburg Lightning, where can they get that information?
There is contact information on the Leesburg Lightning website. It's just www.leesburglightning.com. There are contact numbers and email addresses for, I don't know if everybody's is on there, but I know there are several of the board members. Jack Meyer, Tyler's stuff might be on there. I'm not sure. But, if it's an inquiry about being a sponsor for a night or something like that, and most of that stuff goes through them. If it's a player inquiry, a player wants to know, well, how can I be a member of the Leesburg Lightning? I'm in college, I'd like to play for you guys. Most of that stuff goes through me, so my contact information is on there as well.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We need to take a break. When we return, we'll continue our conversation with Coach Billings and Tyler Brandeburg. We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back to Radio Waves. I'm your host, Kris Poliquin, and we're talking with head coach of the Leesburg Lightning, Rich Billings, and general manager Tyler Brandeburg. Thanks for being on the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so we were talking before the break about free entry to your games, at least at your home stadium. Who pays for all this? If your home games are free, how does this league continue, or the Leesburg Lightning, grow?
Right. So the Leesburg Lightning really continues on the back of our sponsors and the back of our fans. So although we don't charge admission, we pass a bucket around at every game. So whatever fans feel inclined to donate, and they can. It's kind of like a church setting. If you don't feel like contributing that night, that's perfectly fine. If you want to give more than admission would be, that's perfectly fine too. So it's really just a matter of, we want you to get as much out of this as you feel that you are. So if you really enjoy it, great. If you don't, let us know and we'll try to do the best we can to make it better. So we rely on those donations each night. We have a ton of community sponsors. So we sell sponsorships that have signs in the outfield wall. We do radio spots. We do different marketing techniques just to get the community to know all the sponsors we have in the area and how much they do for us. We sell beer at Bike Fest. We contribute to Mardi Gras. We take part in a lot of events throughout the city that not only help us keep the league going, but also help the city continue to build upon the momentum we have now and continue to make the area as great as we can. So it's really just a combination of those sponsorships, passing the bucket, and everything else that goes on with just general fundraising.
Okay. And you've had a couple of events. You just brought up Bike Fest and the Mardi Gras. Do you have any upcoming events?
We have some different special events coming up. We have Meet the Player Night Thursday, June 1st. So that'll be the community's first chance to see this year's team, meet Coach Billings, meet all of us, and just get a good outlook on what we're expecting to do this year on the field. And then opening night is Saturday, July 3rd at Pat Thomas Stadium. So that'll be our first home game of the year, kick off the season, and really just see what we've got. And then throughout the month, we've got a live stream diaper drive in the middle of the month. We have Striker, our mascot's birthday party, July 1st. And our marquee event of the year is 4th of July. We always have a home game that's sponsored by the Phillips Automotive Group, and we'll have a fantastic fireworks show after the game. And we make it a real community event more so than anything else, where you've got stuff going on at Venetian Gardens, you've got stuff that Leesburg's doing, and we just kind of bring it all together at the end at Pat Thomas, and they'll shoot fireworks over Venetian Gardens, watch in the stadium after the game, and just really enjoy each other's company and the holiday.
That sounds great. And I'm relatively new to the area, so I'm learning what all of these organizations are doing in our local area. And I had no idea you guys actually did so much. I really didn't. And with all of your promotions, we're actually excited about one ourselves as well, because we're having Hometown Health Night on June 23rd.
Friday, June 23rd, correct.
And we're going to have Dr. Dino Madonna from Lake E&T, who's the first specialist to sign on with Hometown Health, throw in the first pitch of the game. So Tyler, if someone wanted to get more information about the promotional events, where can they go?
Pretty much the one place to get everything is our website, www.leesburglightning.com. So that'll find our schedule, our upcoming events, our roster, statistics, all that good stuff is found on the website. We've got Facebook and Instagram pages. The league has a website at floridaleague.com. So those are really your encompassing places on where to get all the info you need, and then we'll have programs at every game. General information can be answered then, and we're always available to help in any way we can.
So you spoke earlier, this is a wood bat league. You play with wooden bats. I think that's kind of self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, why? Why wooden bats and not aluminum? If the players are used to playing with aluminum bats in high school and in college, is it in preparation?
Yeah,
You
definitely. It definitely is. It's in preparation for pro ball. It's baseball in its purest form. You big leaguers don't hit with aluminum bats, and there are guys that have come through our organization. There are guys that have come through our league that end up playing pro ball. We have a list of major leaguers that have played in the Florida Collegiate Summer League. One of our local guys, Jonathan Lucroy, who's been an all-star catcher for the last couple of years, played in the Florida Collegiate League for the Winter Park team before Leesburg had a team. And so, that's what all of these guys that play college baseball, I would say most of them have a goal of playing professional baseball at some point. I know when I played, it was I would play as long as I could, and that's kind of, I think, how most of these guys approach it. But in order to play as long as you can, in order to get to that next step, you got to be able to use a wooden bat. And I think, it just makes for an exciting game. The pitchers don't always feel like they're getting beat around. People want to see strikeouts and guys throw 94 miles an hour just as much as they want to see guys hit home runs. So you get a little bit of both. You get the strikeouts, you get the broken bats, you get outs. You don't have a bunch of blowouts where teams are winning 15-0. So, it does make for an exciting night at the ballpark.
Okay. Well, why do the collegiate still use aluminum?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think, on the opposite side of that, there is a time for that, and you see a lot of these SEC schools and ACC schools and some of the bigger schools that are turning big time profits with college baseball, and people, I think during the spring. You don't get 10,000 people at a game to see a 1-0 ball game. They want to see guys more consistently hitting the ball out of the park and driving runs in, and they want to see high scoring games. And I think it's just a nice change of pace to go from spring to summer, and you get a little bit different look.
So, Coach, what happens if a player gets drafted during the summer season?
Well, we've actually had that happen quite a few times. The draft, the Major League Baseball draft, is usually at the beginning of June, and if their name is called and they are selected by a major league team, then they have a choice. They can either sign or they can choose not to. And all of that depends on how much money they get, where they go, what team they go to, what round they go in, all of that. There's a ton of stuff that plays into it. But yeah, they can decline to begin their pro ball career and go back to school. And it just all, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. But it's kind of cool because the draft goes on, while our season is happening. It's usually at the beginning of the year and beginning of the summer. And we have had players drafted in the middle of games before, and our
Is that right?
Our public address announcers will actually announce it to the crowd when their name is called. It's just a really, really cool thing.
Yeah.
We've had that happen several times where a player will be drafted in such and such a round, and Chuck Johnson will come on in between innings and say, your Leesburg Lightning center fielder has just been selected in the 14th round by the Atlanta Braves, or whatever the case may be. So it's a really cool thing when something like that happens, because the fans just love it. They go crazy.
I was about to say the energy's got to be insane.
Yeah, so there is a decision to be made. Once that happens, they can they can sign a contract, and if they choose to do that, then they'll move on, and they'll ship out to wherever it is that wherever they're being sent to play for that team, or they may stay, and they may refuse, and they may stay and finish out the season with us. So.
Is there any noticeable players that some of our listeners might recognize that maybe started or have participated in this league?
Well, actually, about year 4 for us, we had Frank Viola was our manager for about 4 or 5 seasons. He was a World Series MVP and a Cy Young Award winner for the Minnesota Twins in the late 80s, early 90s. So he was in Leesburg for 5 summers, was a fan favorite, was great with the players, great with us, and was a really beneficial time for all parties involved. And then the DeLand Suns actually had Davey Johnson, who's another well-known baseball player who's been a manager in the major leagues just the past 3-4 years with the Washington Nationals, who was a manager in the league before he got that call. So he went straight from the Florida League back to the major leagues as a manager. So that just goes to show what the Florida League puts out and the legitimacy of what we have going on here in Leesburg and throughout Central Florida.
How are the stadiums? I mean, your games, is it max seating, or are you finding yourself trying to fill the stands?
Not too much. I mean, weeknight games are generally less full than weekend games, but I mean, that's always going to be the case. But generally, we've got at least 60-70% occupancy, and we've got the main part behind home plate filled and the bleachers down the left-hand side filled. So it's really just a matter of some nights are more well-attended than others just due to variety of factors and what's going on. So it's not really much an attendance concern.
Opening night and 4th of July are our 2 biggest nights.
By far.
I mean, 4th of July, there'll be 3,000 people there. So
easily.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And opening night, we'll probably have 1,500.
Yep.
So it's a really neat experience.
Well, I encourage everyone to go out there and at least catch one game. What do you have to lose?
Absolutely.
An evening at the ballpark?
Yep.
Right? Well, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for coming and sharing this information, and I hope the best for Leesburg Lightning. I really do.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. That's all the time we have for today. I'm your host, Kris Poliquin, and you've been listening to Radio Waves. We'll see you next time.